Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500+ SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts-curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge-sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500+ SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts-curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge-sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining in the session today. My name is Liki Tema. I am one of the learning advisor with GSDC, and I'll be the host for today. So let me quickly share my screen. Once again, thank you so much, each and every one of you, for joining in today. I would like to request each and every one of you to feel free to use the chat box below and let us know from which location or which country all of you are watching us from. So yeah, without delaying it any further, without delaying it further, let's quickly get started with today's session. So first of all, welcome to our GSDC Global Generative AI Masterclass Series 2023. Today is the very first a quick agenda of our entire masterclass series. These are the updates, these are the specific dates and the list of our keynote speaker, along with all of our topics for the upcoming masterclass series. I also have two of my colleagues with me, Imdirela and Setulu, who has joined with me in today's session. They would be available in the chat box throughout the session. So if any one of you have any doubts or any questions, feel free to leave in the chat box below. Just a quick sneak peek to our entire masterclass series. We have well-known speakers from across the globe with great expertise in the field of generative AI. We will also be going live on all of our social media platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook. The links would be provided on the chat box below, so feel free to share it with all of your networks. Before I pass on the virtual platform to our keynote speaker for the day, I would like to give a quick introduction about our organization, GSDC, also known as Global Skill Development Council. We are a vendor-neutral international certification organization. We have certified over 90,000 plus professionals across all countries. We have successfully partnered with more than 100 plus training organization, and currently we have more than 100 plus programs and certification in our platforms. If anybody is interested to know more about the organization, the links are already provided or will be provided on the chat box below. Feel free to visit our website. These are some of our authorized training partner who has partnered with us. I would like to give a special thanks to all of our partners who has joined us through our partner channels, and a very big thank you for completing all the campaigns so far. A quick shout out to all of our proud patrons as well. Thank you so much for putting in such a great effort and helping us in every possible way for making this event a very big, huge success. Thank you so much. A big shout out to our official media partner as well, World Press Hub. Thank you so much for all the support required, and yeah. A quick overview of all of our GSDC certification, which are currently listed in our platforms. If anybody is interested to learn more about any of the certification provided on the screen, feel free to get in touch with us, or feel free to visit our website for more details. I would also like to let you know a great news for all of our attendees or all of our participants, that we will be giving out a free complimentary voucher worth $200, which will be valid by the end of our masterclass series, that is by March 2024. So yeah, a quick all of our GSDC certification comes with a lifelong membership. So these are some of the benefits that all of our GSDC certification, GSDC candidate holds. We will also be conducting a quick gamification round towards the end of the session, right after the presentation is over. Right after the presentation is over from our keynote speaker, we will be conducting a very exciting and a fun gamification round. So I would like to request each and every one of you to stay tuned with us till the end of the session, because 3 of the lucky winner will be entitled to get a exam voucher worth $400, and they'll also get an opportunity to get themselves published. Now, without delaying it any further, I would like to introduce you to our keynote speaker for the day. He is the Data and AI Lead for Public Sector and Healthcare at Microsoft Spain. He is also the author of the first Data and AI Fundamental course of the Linux Foundation, So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome to you our keynote speaker for the day, Adrian Gonzalez Sanchez. Adrian, over to you whenever you are ready. And yeah, before I pass on the virtual platform to you, I would like to let each and every one of you know that we will be conducting a quick Q&A question and answer session for 15 minutes right after the presentation is over. So feel free to use the chat box below to add all of your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lecky. And hi, everyone. It's Adrian Gonzalez Sanchez, as Lecky mentioned, and data and AI specialist lead for the public sector and healthcare activities in Microsoft Spain. And well, I'm very happy to be here, starting with this series of master classes. You have seen the calendar. This is the first one. You have others after this one today. I'm very happy because we are starting with a topic that I really like, which is generative AI for business, what that means for organizations, how we can actually adopt generative AI in a very pragmatic way nowadays in our organizations. And for that to happen, even if we don't have like a super long session today, but I want to explain some fundamentals that I believe that are required for any practitioner out there. So what are the fundamentals of generative AI and how is this different? Then I would like to also share the screen and just start touching some generative AI tools so you can see how they work, how simple or easy it could be for you to adopt it within your companies. I think that I believe that examples are always a great way to learn. And of course, all the Q&A. As like you mentioned, we'll have a Q&A. You'll bring your questions, and I'll be happy to answer if I have the answer to all your questions, of course. Let me share the screen. I'll have a mix of presentation and a screen sharing for my generative AI platform. But just give me a second. Okay. Perfect. I'll put it full screen. I believe it will be a bit easier. So you can react with, the thumbs up or something like that to see that you are seeing my screen. Do you see the screen that says Generative AI for Business? Yes, perfect. Amazing. Thank you for confirming, folks. So just a quick introduction. Like you mentioned it, but basically I'm working at Microsoft. I'm also teaching at different universities in Canada and Spain. I'm writing a book that I'll share with you by the end of the class because it's a book related to generative AI and Azure OpenAI with O'Reilly. And I'm collaborating with a series of organizations, the Linux Foundation for Training on Data and AI. And well, here basically you have my LinkedIn and my Twitter account on the left. Please feel free to check for my profile and to send an invite. I'll be happy to get connected with all of you. That, by the way, I saw this amazing variety of locations from India, Philippines, etc. So I'll be very happy to expand my network. We're talking about the new era of artificial intelligence. You know that artificial intelligence is nothing new. As a concept, it's pretty old, actually. But now we're talking about generative AI and generative artificial intelligence because we have this wave of adoption and expectations. I would say that after the release of ChatGPT by OpenAI, I believe it's the same everywhere around the world. So we're talking about this new era of AI. And I'll start because today is like a business kind of presentation, just by showing this example of an old innovation, which was the printing press, and how that printing press changed the way we were able to automate some tasks, to spread information, to spread also misinformation. And the reaction of the different countries and the different companies were very similar, like hesitating, can we adopt this? How do we use it? Is a new technology very disrupting? Is this impacting the future of work for workers, for companies? So I always like to start my presentation with this, just to bring the notion that yes, artificial intelligence and generative AI are new concepts, new kind of disruptions, but they are not the first. We have seen that before. And today we have a huge expectation from the organizations because we are saying, okay, what's the impact on the economics of the companies and the economics of the governments and the different countries on the world? And if we see like the previous impact of printing press, steam engines, cloud computing, etc., now we are seeing the same with artificial intelligence. We are starting an era on which we get plenty of messages from different organizations, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, Deloitte, all organizations releasing documents and releasing reports that are explaining the potential value of a generative AI for companies and governments. One of the key things is that, and that's something I'm doing on day to day, is to calculate not only the cost of an implementation for generative AI, but also return investment. What's the potential value for a company? And that will be part of the equation when you think about implementing a generative AI case for your company. This is just one example of McKinsey. They're very good not to create this kind of report, economic potential generative AI. That's why most of your companies are trying to implement generative AI, because you see this proof of value saying that most of the companies out there are experimenting and they want to do it on different departments. So we'll see also how can we actually deploy systems that after that we can adapt to different departments of our companies, that we can accelerate, generate some productivity or even generate some savings, and that will have a huge impact, whatever number of million, billions, or trillions, and different companies and industries around the world. So we are in a very interesting moment because yes, the proof of value is there. A lot of companies are using it and adopting it, but also like these kind of companies are showing the numbers that will help you when you try to justify this kind of initiatives and implementation with your bosses and executives and investors. So just think about it, and depending on the country you are located, this is probably newer or older, like the cloud computing transformation, companies adopting cloud computing in order to accelerate their developments and creating new applications that will be elastic and adaptable, etc. And that's part of the digital transformation of a lot of companies. I think for a startup, if you are coming from a startup, you are probably totally digital, and you started already with cloud computing. But for big companies around the world, they have been transitioning into cloud computing, digitalizing the processes. And now, even if they haven't finished most of these kind of transformation tasks, they are probably starting with the AI transformation, which is the current era in which we are talking of generative AI. As I mentioned, this is not new. The concept itself started in the 50s in some North American universities and conferences in which they were creating this term artificial intelligence to explain the ability to provide machines with some sort of human intelligence. Of course, we weren't talking about reasoning or feelings or whatever. It's not about the machines becoming humans, but it's about replicating some sort of intelligence that could be related to cognitive tasks, vision, language, etc. Then on the 90s, and this is an error here on the slide, but on the 90s, machine learning was widely adopted by companies in insurance, finance, etc., with regression, classification, anomaly detection models, etc. So that's something that has been widely adopted on the 90s, and of course had an evolution on the modern 10s on 2017 with all the explosion of deep learning, neural networks, all these applications for unstructured data, for visual applications, for face recognition, object recognition, etc., etc. That started a new era, no, of adoption of artificial intelligence with advanced capabilities that has been complemented now with the 21, 22, 23 era with generative AI for all sorts of capabilities related to language, to images, to videos, etc. This is not new, but we are talking about when we mention the ability to provide a machine with some sort of intelligence. We are talking even about advancing that intelligence so much that they can be as good as the best of the humans. And we have had all this notion of parity since 2016, in this case in Microsoft, on which the models were becoming as good as the best humans. And obviously that has been totally disrupted with the GPT 3.05 Turbo and GPT-4 announcement, but that's something that has been happening. Models can be as good as humans, but of course, we're talking about artificial intelligence, statistics. There's the notion of hallucination, of false positive or negative, that they are not perfect. So why is generative AI different? Usually I bring three key aspects that for me are very important to understand when you're adopting generative AI. Think about traditional models, pre-ChatGPT, let's say. And traditional AI models, you leverage a single model on which we are customizing the data input, on which we are customizing the hyperparameters, and we are leveraging that for a specific kind of task. So basically, we'll have one model per capability. I'll give you an example. If I want to analyze sentiment from the social media comments, I'll develop and deploy one model. If I want to summarize, I'll develop another model. If I want to classify, I have another model. If I want to translate, I have a different model. But now with generative AI, we're talking about the notion of foundational models. And foundational models are revolutionary on the sense that the same model, usually a massive model, but will contain a lot of information, is able also to perform different kind of activities. And that's very interesting from a business point of view. From an adoption point of view, is you say, hey, I'm a company, I deploy one single model that is already pre-built, and then I'm able to do plenty of things at the same time. And that's revolutionary from an integration point of view, development, deployment point of view. And we'll see examples real life on the screen after that when I'll be sharing my Azure OpenAI platform. I'll show you how to do this. The second one is the ability to ingest information and to produce information. So on the left, you have text, image, audio, video, and we can generate the same. We can generate text like ChatGPT. We can generate images like Midjourney or DALL-E. We can generate audio. That's not new at all. That exists since a few years ago. Video. Now a lot of startups are trying to explore how to generate video based on some instruction on natural language. And that's very interesting because we're saying we have a system that is very versatile on the kind of things we can do, then very flexible on the kind of information we can inject and produce. I think that here we are missing the details, that by text, we mean PDF files, doc files, databases, SQL databases. We can inject all that. We can leverage all those sorts of information in order to answer the questions of our users. So we have that, but we have also the ability to interact with these models in a different way. Before, it was just with programming code. So basically only technical people could communicate with these kind of models. Today it's totally different. We're interacting with natural language in English, in Spanish, in French, whatever language. And that's also very important for adoption within the companies. If you think about your employees, you develop an internal application, let's say, to communicate with your data, with your documents, to ask questions, whatever, to find specific information. Every single person within the company can use this kind of technology, and that's revolutionary. So again, the first thing, the versatility for the kind of things we can do with one single model. The second one, the formats we can inject and generate. And the third one, this ability to communicate in human language. Here is, because it's a masterclass, so I want you to be aware that there are a lot of things happening and changing all the time and new words, and it's difficult to keep track of that. In my case, because I'm working the day-to-day at Microsoft, I'm writing a book, so I force myself to be aware of all these notions. And I try to put here on a one-pager that if you want, I can share with you, or you can take it from here. Don't worry, you can share it on social media, totally okay. But it's a one-pager that will include like this kind of terms that weren't well known before generative AI. We have talked about foundational models, these kind of flexible models that can do different things. We are talking about prompt engineering, that ability to communicate with the models and to adjust the input to the models in natural language. We talk about tokens. What's a token is the unit of measure to quantify the amount of words that we'll put on the input and the output of a language model. We talk about things like hallucination, for example, which is that phenomena that will indicate when a large language model is not performing well and is giving a wrong answer, which, by the way, is nothing new compared to traditional artificial intelligence, without also the notions of false positive, false negative. That's totally normal to evaluate the performance of a model and to find that sometimes it's not perfect because pure statistics. Notions like one-shot or few-shot learning, which is like providing the model with a few examples so it can perform better. Fine-tuning, which is like a retraining of the model, like when you want to adjust the model for specific situations and a specific content, and you want it to answer in a specific way based on the knowledge of your company. Or the grounding, which is not retraining the model, but is to combine that information with your own knowledge bases. That we do it a lot, no? That we are combining the baseline model with the knowledge bases. So I'll keep it here, but there are a lot of things that you need to know when you are dealing with this kind of implementation and when you are planning to adopt generative AI. And by the way, on the book, I'm also explaining that in a very simple way to understand. Now, one of the things that are very important for companies out there is the notion of a copilot. A copilot is a term that has been widely used at Microsoft. No, it started with GitHub Copilot. We have different kind of copilot, but basically we're talking about applications or pieces of technology that we are integrating within existing or new applications. So you can interact with these applications in a very natural way. And I'll give you an example. Imagine you have a Power BI dashboard for data visualizations, and you want to generate a visualization. In a traditional world, you'll need to go connect to data sources, specify the kind of visualization you want to do, etc. And that will have a series of manual steps, but also very technical steps. You need to have a specific knowledge of Power BI and the data behind it in order to create the visualizations. Today, with the notion of Copilot, what we're saying is, hey, you can have a Power BI, and then on the right, on the left, you have this Copilot, which is like a chatbot, like a ChatGPT, but adapted to this Power BI, and you can communicate and ask for, I don't know, visualization for my financial data 2020 and 21, and you can do that on demand. And you don't do any programming, you just put the information in natural language, in English, for example, and you will get the answer. And that's very revolutionary. You can see today a lot of companies are adopting this term. As I mentioned, the first case at Microsoft was the GitHub Copilot to facilitate the programming activities. But now you have the Power BI Copilot, the Fabric Copilot, and this is important for you to know. These are other examples, not for security, for the 365, for Word, PowerPoint, etc. You can use this Copilot in order to interact with the tools. And I would say that it's important for companies to understand this notion, because when you are planning your new implementations in the companies, maybe you will reach conclusion that you would like to do something that is very similar to a functionality that is already on your Office 365 or your GitHub. Then it will be very important for you as a company to decide if you want to develop that by yourself by using technologies like Azure OpenAI, or if you prefer to pay the price for a license and a specific kind of product. And these are choices that we are seeing today on the industry. Sometimes the answer is the first one, sometimes the answer is the second one. But it's important for you to be aware of what's happening in terms of products so you can make that kind of informed decision. And of course, this notion of copilots will be impacting and is already impacting all the areas of the company. These are very Microsoft vision. All the areas of the company could be research and development, marketing, sales, finance, whatever, and all the levels. It could be your workers, your executives, your investors, it's everywhere. And the idea is to combine the human intelligence, and that's why we are calling it Copilot, the human intelligence with the ability of the machine to spot information and to facilitate some kind of activities with your software. So that's the notion of Copilot, and that's why I'm bringing it here, because I believe it will be important for you as a company to understand that point. Now, let me stop sharing here, and what I'll do to make it more dynamic is to show you on the screen how we can implement that in just a few seconds. Meanwhile, I'll just answer very quickly some of the questions that you see here. Can we get this slide content? We need this presentation. Don't worry, yes, we are sharing some part of the presentation. I saw another question that is saying, how is my company's data being private when using Copilot or any kind of Azure OpenAI solution? That's part of the goal of these kind of tools, that they are on your specific instance and it's only for you. You are using it, and this is not being shared, for example, with the rest of the users or being used to retrain models, etc. That's part of what using this kind of solution means. Let me show you some examples because it will be very visual, and after that we can come back to the questions. Okay. So let's imagine you are GSDC, for example, business and education, an organization that has already, by the way, a chatbot here I can see on the website. But let's say that you wanted to implement generative AI, right? I'm taking this because it's an illustrative concept, but it could be any kind of business. So let's take the URL and let's go to my Azure account. So basically, when I go to my Azure account, there's something that we call the Visual Studios, the playgrounds, which is basically something that will facilitate testing and deploying AI models without the need to use APIs that are being used on the back for sure, but we can just do it in a visual way. Imagine you are not too technical or just want to do it here. So basically on this Azure OpenAI Studio, you will be able to leverage the Azure OpenAI service. And I'll explain you what this is about. Azure OpenAI service is a full managed kind of cloud version of what you know about OpenAI, this kind of models, with the Azure flavor, which means that if you deploy these models, you do it in your own instance. The instance is private, it's secure, the data is your data. If you put some information there, it's not going outside. If you put prompts there from your employees, it's not going outside. So that's pretty much the value prop of this kind of service. And also the additional value is that you can, use it in a visual way. Instead of programming, you can go here and deploy. So let me go with this first example. Here you can see a few areas on the screen. On the right, you have the kind of parameters that you can customize to make the chatbot more creative or deterministic, or you can limit the kind of answers you have, etc. It doesn't matter. If I change this, because I was testing another example before, but let's go with the prompt, the system prompt. Sometimes we call it system message, system prompt, meta prompt, which is basically the kind of prompt or instruction that we are giving, in this case, to a chatbot to contextualize how the chatbot should behave when we are working with a chatbot. And that will be the baseline. After that, as a user, we'll have other kind of interactions. This is just part of the system. So let's say you're an AI assistant that helps people find information from the website, GSDC. If you get any other question and topic, please say you cannot answer. So look at this. Basically, what we're telling to this chatbot is, hey, you are related to this kind of business. I just give the URL. I don't provide more information. If you get any other question or topic, please say you cannot answer. Let's see how that works. Sometimes just changing one word on what I'm putting here could change a little bit the behavior. So that's why we have prompt engineering and all these adjustments and a lot of professionals working on this to make it perform in the best way. So let me save these changes and let's see how this works. I don't know if it will work because I'm doing this demo in real time in the moment we're here. Okay, so I say, hey, hello, can I assist you today? You tell me how, because I don't know your business. Certainly, I can assist you finding information uh, from the console. You can ask me questions for the. This is definitely not a good answer. So I'll try with another URL. Here you can see an example of hallucination because it has gotten the information from GSDC, but as an acronym, and it's getting the information from a different class. So I could say, no, you are the SDC for education. And let's see what it says. Meanwhile, I'll get another example of URL, which will be microsoft.com. One, and come back to chat. Yeah, so basically it's not taking it because you remember these models still have like a baseline data that will go up to September 2021. So maybe on their database is not there. So let's do something different. Let's do, okay, let's try this again. So like this. Okay, Microsoft related information. You tell me. I'm just trying to say, hey, just tell me what I can do. Sure. Do you have a specific question or topic in mind? I can help you with anything related to Microsoft products, service, and solutions. Let's say, tell me something. Tell me what to find from Microsoft website, for example. And here is showing like, hey, there are many things you can find: product information, support resources, news and updates, developer resources, corporate information. So basically, I'm passing just the URL of the company here, and I'm saying if I ask about something else, please don't answer. Let's see if that works, because it depends on how I write it. I'll put talk about love. See, and sorry, as a language model, I cannot talk about that. And soccer. So basically, I'm saying I can answer to this if it's related to Microsoft related information. So if we analyze the case here, basically what we are saying is, hey, get information related to this website. Anything that linguistically talking is related to this website, I want you to consider as part of the domain scope, or the knowledge scope of what you can answer. So basically you have different topics, documentation, security, etc. And that's the kind of thing that you will be able to answer. If you wanted to add, for example, your data, a lot of questions from people are like, hey, I want to add my PDF and answer questions from a PDF. You could do it here as a data source. Actually, I'll show you something that will be very interesting too. This is an example of Accelerator. Accelerator, we call it to a repository created by Microsoft people, Microsoft colleagues, on which they are saying, hey, I'll create something that will be able to communicate with, I don't know, SQL databases, with Bing search, with documents in PDF, with images, with the Excel files, and you can find all the information there. And the cool thing is that they have put the web chat version here, so you can test it. So I'll do this test. So you see here saying like, hey, do we have the possibility to use this kind of ChatGPT implementation and to communicate with the SQL databases? For some reason, don't ask me why, the database is about COVID cases, hospitalization, etc. So I'll ask the question, SQL search, tell me about COVID hospitalizations in 2020, for example. It's saying that they have information for 20 and 21, let's say. So see, we are putting information on text-based, like a natural language in English. Is launching an order on SQL. We'll be searching something from a table called COVID tracking. now is generating, SQL for databases for querying. It will be finding the information, select top. This is generated automatically. I haven't done it. It's generating a query that is getting the first 10 records by date, state, hospitalized for the year 2020, order descendant. Okay, and at some moment it will provide the answer. So you can see now how the power of a large language model can do that translation between, in this case, English and SQL. Let's see if it provides the answer. It should provide it now. Give me a second, it can take time. Yeah, so basically it's getting some examples, it's taking information from the SQL, and then it's integrating the answer within this list that is text-based. And it's saying Florida, Delaware, Washington, Connecticut, etc. And you could go deeper. You could continue asking questions, no? And this is based on your SQL database on the backend. So you could say, hey, I don't know, give me the numbers for assuming that this is for states in the United States, let's say Arizona. Let's see. So basically, I'm asking, give me numbers for Arizona. Is find all the results you provide me with. Is finding the information. Let's see. COVID tracking, again, the same database, because you can assume that now we'll go into detail of some specific parameter. And yes, basically what's finding here is the hospitalized people from COVID tracking where Arizona, well, state AZ, so it's doing the translation between Arizona and AZ, which is the acronym for Arizona. All that with the natural language, and then finding the information 2020 and the send it. So you see already how this kind of interaction works, no? And it's pretty interesting to see that you can actually combine SQL database and a ChatGPT kind of implementation. Again, this could be from a company adoption perspective. This could be a PDF, a Word document. It could be any other database. You see, like we have all the information here for Arizona. It could be any kind of source. In the same way you can see it here, because here we have all sorts of sources and documents and stuff that we could communicate with. So that's important also in your internal discussion when you are planning to adopt the generative AI, to think the kind of data sources that you will leverage for your implementations. Let me see. I'm stopping the screen sharing. Now I'll go to the questions. Okay. Let's see if there is the recording session. Yes, will be available. Okay, Luis Herrera, for example, is mentioning like OpenAI Enterprise is very sure to work with internal data. What's your recommendations? Yeah, OpenAI Enterprise is another company. I don't work for OpenAI, so I cannot talk about them. But it's for sure another option for enterprise implementations. In my case, what I do on the day-to-day is to provide like clients and partners with architectures to generate Azure enable kind of architecture on which you leverage these kind of services that is already integrated with your cloud space. I saw that someone mentioned, yeah, like an Amazon Web Services or Google, yes. Different kind of models. In our case, we have the exclusive access to the OpenAI models, but yes, similar kind of principle. Okay. Continue. Okay, Leki, is there any other question that you want to privilege now at this point?
First of all, Adrian, thank you so much for that amazing session delivered. I would like to request each and every one of you to feel free to use the chat box below if you have any questions. In the meanwhile, I will check if we have any questions. Just give it a second.
I'll take one from Nirma Lendu, who is asking like, how frequently is the ChatGPT database is updated? If you want immediate implementations, September 2021 data will be all to rely upon. So that's good, a good question, because any generative AI model, whatever the provider of the model is, they'll have this kind of limitation. It could be September 2021, it could be 2022, whatever happens, they will be updating the models, of course, at some moment, but it won't be in real time. So what we'll have is a base of knowledge based on the massive model that will allow you to retrieve most of the questions or most of the answers to the questions. But at the same time, you will be combining your large language model with your own source of information. And that's how you complement the knowledge, because probably actually, like most of the companies, they want to rely on their own source of information. So that's why we are talking about the notion of grounding. I put it on the one pager with all the definitions, the grounding notion, which is important because it combines the best of both worlds. Your knowledge base on the company, which is updated, or hopefully is updated, and then the large language model, and then you are telling the model, hey, can you privilege the information from my company? If you don't find the information, you can answer from the knowledge of the model. If you don't find information, you could search on the internet, like we do with Bing Search, for example. Trying to check.
Adrian, I do see a lot of questions coming in. I'll help you out if you have missed out any of the questions. There's one which says, is there a common, okay, there's the next one. Are you going to explain the brief info about the underlying algorithms behind black box functions of generative AI?
I mean, like these kind of models, you can consider that they are black box or less black box in the sense that sometimes, depending on the implementation, you could technically tell the model, hey, can you provide me with the sources? And it depends on the implementation. Maybe if we do a basic one, you'll get the answer, but you don't know why the answer is coming to you. And sometimes you can say, hey, can you add the sources? Imagine the sources are like your specific PDFs and databases, and you could get a trace of that. So it will be still like a big black box in the sense of how is the model reasoning or finding information, but it won't be black box in the sense that you can know what the origin of the information is. And I'll give you an example. I was using Bing Chat, which is the ChatGPT kind of implementation without Bing, the search engine of Microsoft. And I was asking about the different locations of what one university, I don't know for which reason I was probably discussing with the university, we found the different locations, and then we had the trace and we could find the URLs, and then you could click and you could understand that actually the chatbot was answering to a question based on the information of sources such as Wikipedia, for example, that was saying like this university was in Paris, Barcelona, etc., etc. So of course there is a lot of complexity behind the model itself, but the black box part could be related to the model, but also to the results, and there are ways to avoid that kind of black box situation, which we don't understand the rationale of these models. So I see another question from Abhishek, which is saying, we're saying if the LLM is the internet itself being searched, how easy is to maintain such an LLM? Well, actually, it's a good question. Now that when we see this combination of search and chat, that you can see it on Bing, for example. Reality is that one thing is the search. We have search engines like a Bing, like any kind of search engine. And then you are complementing that with the LLM. And the LLM can be orchestrated or combined with search engine, but the LLM is not based on the search engine. It's just a complement to that. So you don't need to maintain an LLM that is based on the search. Basically, you are retrieving information from the search and then passing the results to the LLM, and the LLM is creating an answer based on that. So it's the same principle of grounding that I was telling you for your companies, on which you can combine your own knowledge base and the LLM is the same. The knowledge base will be the internet. And by the way, you can create this kind of implementation if you say, I'll leverage Bing APIs for search. You could do that. You could create your own search engine with an LLM.
Adrian, before we proceed further, I wanted to check in. Do you still have a few more points to add from your presentation, or can we continue with the question and answer session?
I had like a few more examples and visual demos, but this is totally fine. I think that the questions are very good and the demos are on the same line. So we can continue with the questions.
All right, we still have a few more time on the clock if you would like to continue with the presentation as well.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So Harun is asking, how can we leverage generative AI platforms and tools provided by multiple providers by enforcing security and data anonymity and integrity? Well, these are good questions. Like, how can we combine these capabilities from different providers? Basically, you are creating architectures on which you are making sure that every single piece that you leverage will be respecting the security of the system, of your data sources, the integrity, the anonymity, the privacy, for example, that your data, if you are in a specific location, is not going out of that location, that your data is not being used to retrain models and stuff like that. And that's why people are adopting like Microsoft Azure technologies, for example. And when you are working with different providers, you are in hybrid or multi-cloud kind of environments, well, you have some architecture that will help you handle that. API managers also to handle your API calls to different systems, secret vaults to handle your keys and your secrets. So there are different things that you need to know in order to enforce that security and data management. Let me check all the questions. Is it possible to integrate, this question from Sambit Mondal, is it possible to integrate a generative AI model for a specific business domain for efficiency and confidential purpose? Yes, you can customize your generative AI model with information from different business domains. Imagine you have different departments, marketing, sales, operations, etc. You could customize that implementation. The same kind of model, but connecting to different kind of knowledge bases. And then when you talk about the confidentiality, well, imagine you have within the company different roles and different level of access based on the role. You could you could leverage the Active Directory to manage the identities and the level of rights to access data, and to connect that to the chatbot implementation and to say, hey, chatbot, if you're asking a question and you want to answer the question, please leverage only information that only Adrian can access. And if it is Jeremy who is asking the question, leverage information that only Jeremy can access. So these kind of things are very good because then you are being very efficient in the way you are finding information, but also making sure that you are providing an answer only based on the rights of the end users. Because you don't want Adrian to access information about Lecky if I'm not supposed to find it, no, within the organization. A career-oriented question from Sumit: what's the career scope for a platform architect in generative AI? That's a very good question. And the answer is, it depends. It depends on the company, it depends on your own knowledge and your areas of knowledge. But what I see today is that an architect will be a person that will understand at the very least a few resources from the main, well, it could be clouds and public clouds, no, from the hyperscalers, etc., from Hugging Face, etc., and you will understand how these models work, how you can connect them to existing systems. And then there is a part that you are like a technical architect, that will be like a LLM development that will help you create modules with a LangChain, semantic kernel, all these kind of pieces that enable all the orchestration of knowledge with the different LLMs. So I think there is a mix of understanding different technical environments, mostly based on the cloud, yes, and then part of the development for orchestration engines. I'll share, by the way, actually I'll share this on the screen so you can see it. Give me a second. Sorry, I'll take the control the presentation, but you can see it here because probably this will help you a little bit. This is the book I was telling you I'm writing today. You have access to O'Reilly, or you can create like a 30-day trial for free. You can access the book. I'm releasing chapters every month. For now, you have 2 chapters. You will have the third chapter very soon. But basically, I'm explaining this kind of detailed things about architecture and how to secure the implementations, how to make it scalable within the company, how to leverage API managers to control the quotas from different users, etc. This is a very good question from Ajinkya, which is how can we fine-tune the LLM? So that's a very good question. When we are talking about fine-tuning, we are talking about retraining a model. And you are talking there about PDFs and trying to ask questions about the PDF. Okay, so there are 2 notions. The fine-tuning, which is actually retraining the model, let's say, in a very specific way for specific questions, etc. And then you have the option to combine, to do the grounding. So that's where I'll put it here on the chat, but grounding versus fine-tuning becomes interesting because most of the times you won't need like a fine-tuning. That's more the kind of training technique. It will require some hosting of the models. It could increase the cost of implementation and the complexity. Sometimes it's required, sometimes not. But for those cases where you want just to add information out of PDFs and ask questions about these PDFs, you can do some grounding, which is, again, combining the knowledge base and the LLM. Yeah, I'm checking the questions. For example, someone here is saying, how can we integrate generative AI with Dynamics 365, which is the CRM, ERP kind of tools of Microsoft? They're integrating already by default the notion of Copilot. That's why I say, like, if you are planning to do some implementation that will combine Dynamics 365, probably you need to analyze first if the product itself will include that functionality. And if not, you can plan an implementation with Azure, OpenAI, and connecting to Dynamics. But in general, you have these kind of functionalities. Let me check. This is from Par. Can you tell some use cases where we can clearly distinguish process, prowess, like a AI versus generative AI? Yeah, like a traditional AI will be oriented to predict or to classify or to detect something, while generative AI will be more focused on generation. So the process will be a bit different in the sense that in LLMs and generative AI, you will be leveraging already a model that is pre-built, pre-trained, and you can directly use it, and then you are fine-tuning or you are adjusting, you are doing grounding, you are improving your prompts, etc. While the others, you need to tweak a little bit the model and configure it so you can use it for whatever purpose you have. One question here from Rohan. How can we leverage generative AI on-premise landscape, or we need cloud landscape itself. It can be both. Like there are models that you can run locally on-prem in your laptop if they are very tiny, very small. And there are models that are very powerful, and you could do it in whatever environment. You just put it, let's say, in a container, and it's totally fine. It really depends on the resources you have. The cloud is providing you with resources that are scalable. If your model is very heavy and it consumes a lot of resources, but if not, you can do it on-prem, of course. Okay. Okay, let me check. I'm checking because there are a lot of questions and we won't have time to answer all of them. Okay, so our colleague, Miss Law, is asking, by grounding an LLM, you mean using LangChain to connect the LLM to document base? Yes, this is one of the cases. That's one of the cases, but basically leveraging technologies like a LangChain, semantic kernel. Yes, that's what I mean by grounding. It's orchestrating, combining with the knowledge base. Cases. Okay. Check. Try to check to select a little bit, because there are too many.
Adrian, I do see a few questions. I'm not sure if you got a chance to answer this one. One says, can you show how to integrate generative AI with a dynamic 365?
Yeah, I answer already that one, but I was taking another one that is interesting. That is how Azure or whatever tools now can guarantee the results or answer gonna be unbiased or biased. Can we detect? So no AI model or provider can guarantee that an AI answer will be perfect. That's why we are talking about this notion of copilots, because we need the human intelligence to interpret the results. But what I can tell you is that you can detect if there are some conditions on the answers. I haven't showed this, but one of the cool things, based on what I consider cool, right? But on this Azure OpenAI, is the notion of content filters. It's not about analyzing the bias. For that, we have other kind of evaluation process. But for example, this one, you check here, what you could do is to monitor and filter certain cases in which you don't want people to ask questions about hate, sexual topics, harm, violence, or the model to answer about these topics. So this is the kind of things that we're integrating in the product, right? That is helping people to implement something in the company and to secure the implementation by avoiding any kind of hate, sexual, self-harm, or violence. This is the same on Bing Chat. On Bing Chat, if you do the test and you go and you say something very negative or violent, Bing Chat will cut your session because it's already implementing a monitoring kind of system. When you talk about bias, well, there is something that we call the evaluation flows that we will be able to take the information, test the chatbot several times, and then we analyzing the results to see if there is some bias or wrong answers, etc., and to measure the performance. Okay, let me check. I'm checking the other questions. See those that will be more. They are all interesting, but someone asking, is this a complete session on Azure AI models? No, it's just part of the discussion because I work at Microsoft. So I know these models. I know also Llama models, for example, that you can launch in Azure or on-prem.
Adrian, we do have few interesting questions coming in from our live viewer as well. One asked, how can businesses effectively integrate AI technology into their operations to enhance efficiency and productivity?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Lakey. Businesses are already doing that. Basically, they're saying either when you are trying to implement generative AI, either you think about internal cases for employees, external cases for clients. And when you are thinking about internal cases that are like a very straightforward because you know your business, you know the employees are trying to find information at specific moments, etc. You say, imagine I have new employees, I have a lot of rotation, there's a lot of knowledge that has been documented, but when someone arrives new to a company and they need to interact with the clients, they are struggling to find the information. So in that case, you are identifying a current pain of the company, and you say, I would like these new people to have access to information, because if we have access to information, we'll have what? Like a better customer experience. We'll reduce the time, so we are reducing the cost of finding this information. So I think that this is the kind of process that we are seeing the most in the industry. That is identifying use cases that will be meaningful for the company, that are related to current pains, actual pains of the company, and that will bring some return investment. And that's universal. It's happening all around the world. You mentioned, like, that there were more questions from the live event.
Correct. I am checking. Just a second. Okay. What are the key ethical consideration and potential risk associated with deploying AI in a business context, and how can they be minimized?
That's an excellent question. Actually, yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but I wasn't sure if we will have time. But you need to think about the ethical considerations. What can we do to secure that we are not creating a negative outcome for whatever population or for users, for employees, etc. Right now, what we're talking about, there are different levels. There are different levels on the way we secure the prompts, for example, so people cannot do wrong things with the prompts and interact with the model. How do you secure the model? How do you guarantee that the model is including the good information? How do you secure, from a cybersecurity perspective, the implementations? How can you analyze the result of the models? And those are like different things that you can do, is like different layers. So I feel like it's a mix of things. It's a puzzle. The example you have seen with the AI content safety is one of them, because you are already avoiding like negative topics on your implementation. But you need to think about the kind of cases you may have that are not very good, because I don't know, the answer could be negative or could be unrelated to the reality. So how can you fix that? And there are mechanisms that will come from the different products already integrated, and some other mechanisms that you could implement to say, hey, if my chatbot is talking about something else, I just want to send an alert to an internal human agent on the company, so that person can analyze the information and start a new process. So it's an interesting topic. I'm working a lot on that, but we don't have like a single answer on how to secure or how to make an ethical AI for generative AI. That's a mix of things.
Thank you so much for that, Adrian. I am checking if there are a few more questions coming in. Let me check, and we can keep this as the very last question for our Q&A session. Okay, I have a good one. What strategies and best practices can business adopt to ensure that their workforce is adequately prepared for the adoption of AI and generative AI technologies?
That's very good. That's a very good question. And it's different levels. Like when we are designing the applications, one of the best practices I have seen, imagine you're implementing a generative AI kind of chatbot for whatever purpose one single department, is involving people from those departments so they can bring their point of view how the design of the solution is being done, but also training. And that's the same for any kind of situation where we are bringing new kind of tools with or without generative AI, training the people so they can understand how to use it. We see a lot of people or a lot of companies saying, hey, employees are using ChatGPT, for example, and we want them to understand when they can put the information in ChatGPT and when they cannot put information in ChatGPT. That's totally fine. That's part of the training and the information that these employees will need to get in order to use these tools in a proper way.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrian, for that. And do you have few more points to add from your slides, or that would be it for today?
That's all. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
great. Thank you so much, Adrian, for that amazing session. I enjoyed every bit of it. You somehow managed to make the session very interactive, and it was very motivational at the same time. I'm sure it was similar experience from each and every participant. Do you have any? We will be jumping into the we will be jumping into the gamification round. Adrian, if you can somehow, you did tell me that you had a hard stop, but if you can make it, we will be really happy if you could be a part of it. Anyways, do you have any final words from your end before you leave the session for today?
Yeah, well, I would say thank you everyone for all this amazing participation and for all the questions. Very good. I couldn't answer all of them, but I think that they summarize a bit the kind of things that we are seeing with the industry. So you are leading towards a good direction with the kind of questions that you're asking. But I'll recommend you to explore all the documentation related to these and other tools. Today I explained like Azure OpenAI, but it could be other tools for your generative AI implementations. Always asking what kind of case we want to implement, if it's something internal, with employees, external, with clients. For any case, you need to justify return investment. So creating this kind of sort of a scenario in your mind and the paper saying, hey, yes, if we implement this, we'll get a return investment, we'll improve the company on this and this and this, because there's a lot of curiosity today related to generative AI. So, yeah, I think that will be the recommendations. And of course, there's a lot of technical complexity, but if you start to understand, maybe take a look at the book, you start to understand the high level building blocks and the main architectures and this notion of grounding and fine tuning and whatnot. I think that you will be implementing your own generative AI systems very soon. So thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much once again, Adrian, for that amazing presentation. Now, without delaying it any further, we will quickly jump into our final round for the session, our gamification round. So, as I have informed that we will be selecting a 3 lucky winner, just a correction on the announcement that I had made earlier. The top 3 winners will get an opportunity to get it published on our GSDC Wall of Fame, and one of the lucky winner will be getting an exam voucher. So now, without delaying it further, let's get started with the registration. I request each and every one of you to participate. The links would be provided on the chat box for the registration. So once you click on the registration link, this Okay, the links are already given on the chat box below. Please click on the link below and do not log in. Everyone has to sign up for this particular session as it is mentioned on the screen. Do not click on the login button, but click on the sign up button. Once you click on the sign up button, this is something it should look on your screen. So make sure to enter your first name, last name, your email address, and the session ID. The session ID will be 1518. Again, I'm repeating, the session ID will be 1518. I do see a lot of people who have joined the session again. So if any one of you have already played this game before, make sure to use an alternative email address this time. Again, for people who have joined in late, please do not click on the login button. Make sure to click on the sign up button. Once you click on the sign up option, you should get an option where you enter your first name, your last name, your email address, and the session ID. The session ID is 1518. Okay, I'm sure, I hope I'm audible to you. Okay, do let me know if my voice is cracking or if I'm not properly audible. So the game that we will be playing today is called Tic-Tac-Toe. The rules and regulation of the game is pretty simple. I will, okay, let's give it a second. We have already started the registration. So once everyone is able to see the tic-tac game, once everybody has finished signing up, this is the game that should be displayed on your screen. The name of the game is Tic-Tac-Toe. The rules and regulation of the game is pretty simple. Um, okay. What is the correct password? There is no password. The email address, you have to click on the sign up option, not the login option. Okay, let's give a couple of minutes for everyone to finish up signing up, and then we will get started with the gamification. And once everybody has finished signing up, click on the game, the tic-tac-toe game, and then we'll start with the registration. This is the game that we will be playing, tic-tac-toe. So once everybody has landed on this page, make sure to click on the game and then we'll start with the registration. We will give a couple of minutes for everyone to finish signing up. Okay, we have started the registration and I am very happy to see a lot of participants participating to play the game. Let's give a couple of seconds more and then we'll get started with the quiz. In the meanwhile, let me explain the rules of the game. I'm sure everybody must have read the instruction while registering, while signing up for the game. So the rules are pretty simple. We will for each and every correct answer, you will get 1 point, and it will be marked as O on your tic-tac-toe board. And for every wrong answer, it will be marked as X. And please note that after you have submitted all the answers, you cannot go back to the previous question. So make sure to carefully read each and every questions before clicking the submit button. And very important note, do not refresh your window or browser while playing the game, or and then you will not be able to restart the game. And users with maximum points will be the winner, of course. And if there are 2 or more users who gets the same point, then the results will be considered on the time to complete the game. All right. We will give 10 more seconds and then we'll start with the registration. And then we'll start with the quiz. All right. Okay, I will begin with the countdown and then we will start with the quiz. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please make sure to read each and every questions properly, because once you have selected the correct questions and selected the next questions, you will not be able to go back to the previous questions. And the time duration for this particular quiz is 2 minutes. So yes. All right, I do see a lot of tough competition happening on the screen. Deepak is currently leading the board, followed by Debunker. Again, make sure to not to press refresh button, because if you do it, you might not be able to complete the game. Deepak is still leading. We have new competitor on the board, Parth Saxena. Okay, again, just letting everyone know that we will be selecting the total number of winners that we will be selecting would be 3, which we will be publishing them on our wall of GSDC wall of fame, and one of the very lucky winner will be entitled for an exam voucher from GSDC, which is worth $400. Okay, 1 minute is over. We still have 1 more minute, and then we will end the quiz. Whoever wins, whoever wins the gamification round, please be camera ready, because we will be asking them to turn on their camera and then speak a little about our gamification round, or what was their key takeaway from today's session. I see that Parth is still leading on our board. We still have Praveen Sahil following up. Okay, I will start the countdown and we will end the quiz within next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once I end the quiz, we shall be able to see all of our lucky winners. All right, great. That was a very tough and a very exciting gamification round. Congratulations to all the winners. I see Gokul, Parth, and Vishrut on the leaderboard. Congratulations once again for winning the gamification round. Now I would like to request any one of you who is camera ready to turn on their camera and speak on today's session. How was the gamification round? What was their key takeaway from today's session? Gokul, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sorry, I cannot come on to camera, but the session was quite good, and it gave us clarity on in which direction generative AI is going, and what we can achieve once we have the full potential of generative AI. Also, how cloud providers are helping enterprises to use generative AI with the help of kind of copilot service also the same service is available with GitHub Copilot, and it is making things faster for the developer. So we will be able to produce things quickly. Also with compliances, security, everything in place. Also the gamification round, it was quite interesting as well. Thanks.
All right, great. Thank you so much. We are glad that you enjoyed every bit of the session and you enjoyed the gamification round as well. Parth, would you like to go next, or Vishruth, if you're ready? Okay, Parth, would you like to go first? Great. Hello, Parth. Would you like to share a bit of your experience? How was the overall session and how did you find our gamification round?
Uh, can you hear me now? I think I have some network issue, but can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes. So I just wanted to say that thank you for this session. It was very informative. My understanding before this was I didn't have much clarity about generative AI and traditional AI in common. But when I saw all those the technical things which Adrian was talking about in the call, and when I saw that database and everything movement, I got much more clear idea about of it. And plus the GAN networks and the NLP which he was talking about, that was a new thing for me. I've heard of it, but didn't have much clarity. So I think this session cleared helped me in that, and I think it would have helped all of us in that area.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. And we are really happy that the session was very fruitful to you as well. Vishruth, would you like to go next now and share
Hi.
a bit of?
Yeah. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
All right. Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot for this insightful session. It was pretty informative, and I got to learn lot many things, new terms, and I'm looking forward to the consecutive sessions, right, which are organized. So, looking forward to it. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Vishruth. And again, once again, congratulations to all of our winners. We will be getting in touch with you via email for the further details. Now, with that, we have come to an end of our gamification round. Just to let you know, just a quick sneak peek to our next masterclass series. We have our next masterclass series on generative AI and cybersecurity. So, if I would like to request each and every one of you to be a part of our next masterclass series as well. Our next speaker is Jepson Taylor. And yeah, if you want to learn more about our upcoming events, stay connected with us. We post all of our details on our social media platforms. Moving forward, yes, that with that we have come to an end of our generative AI masterclass series one. Do feel free to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Follow us on our LinkedIn page. Please feel free to scan the QR button to join follow us on LinkedIn, and also requesting each and every one of you to share all of your valuable feedbacks and your key takeaway on Trust Pilot. And if you want to learn more about GSDC and about their certification, feel free to visit our websites. The links are already provided on the chat box below. And also do not forget to join our LinkedIn groups if you have any pending questions or any experience to be shared. Thank you so much everyone for joining in, and we shall hopefully see you on our upcoming event. Thank you so much. Have a great night.